Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel here at Random Acts of Stamping, and we are going to make a really fun full card today. I saw this design on Lisa Cusio's channel. I saw the card layout, and it is a fun full card, but I'm doing a little different with mine, and I'm going to pull in some of the elements from this Flowering Blooms stamp set. The stamp set is so pretty. It is just, this is probably one of my favorite flowers. This flower will color so pretty, and it just lends, I just find it absolutely stunning, and I love these. You've got some greenery, you've got the smaller flower, and then you have this beautiful big one. So we are going to work with that stamp set, and also the dies. This is called the Flowering Dies, and it actually cuts out a lot of the pieces. Plus you have some other elements like this cute little border, and I'm not sure what we're going to be doing, if we're going to use those or not, but we will see. And I'm going to use an embossing folder, and this is the Scripty 3D. And because we are going to be embossing and die cutting, we are going to be using the brand new Stampin' Up! Stamp and Die machine. So I'm going to leave it sitting over here until we get ready to use it, along with all of its wonderful, marvelous plates. So let's set it back over here. And you saw how well it adheres down to your surface. When you set it down, it has those non-skid feet that are fantastic. Now I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I am going to grab my trimmer because we are going to do some scoring first. I'll tell you what. Let me pull out my, I don't have the Stampin' Up! Scoreboard yet, so I'm going to use what I have, and we're going to do some scoring. The first thing we need to do is put it in on the 8.5 inch side, and we are going to score this at 2 1/8. And I know none of us like the 8s, but sometimes they're necessary. That's the reason I said go ahead and grab your scoreboard if you have one, because I find it just a tiny bit easier. Give me just a second. I'm looking for something that I can't. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. This makes it a little bit easier for me because we have the 1/8, the 3/8, and all of that on here. So we're going to come to 2 1/8 and just make a score line. And then go over to 6 3/8, and then that's very easy. 1, 2, 3, 6 1/8, 1/4, and then 3/8, and score all the way down. Then you're going to turn it on the 11 inch side, and you're going to score this in the middle at 5 1/2. Pretty simple so far, right? All right, we're going to take that out of our scoreboard, and we are going to. This is going to make our card. So you do only get one card from an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper. But what we're going to do to make this fancy fun full card, we are going to cut away this entire rectangle here and the entire rectangle here. So you can do it with your trimmer, or you can do it with your Okay, everybody, I'm back, and I do apologize for my interruption, but what I did is I cut away the pieces that were here. And in the process of cutting, when I folded everything together, this was a little too close, so all I done was I opened it up and I took just a tiny, maybe 1/16 off of this side, and the same thing here, so that when it folds down. Also, I had to adjust this because when I folded it down, it was showing a little bit of the bottom. So if you have that problem when you do yours, adjust it accordingly. It's no big deal. You can always adjust this and always make it exactly what you need it to be. So the fun part of this is we're going to be able to decorate this and do some really fun things with it. So we're going to start off by decorating with a piece of, let me grab a pretty piece of paper, and I think I want to use this Pacific Point. I think this is a beautiful shade of blue. I love blue. It is just one of those calming colors that always makes me happy. Now, don't get me wrong, I love red, but there's just something that's soothing about blue. So I'm going to pull a piece out of here, and we're going to cut this down. Isn't that a beautiful shade of blue? I love it. And let me check my measurement, because I did have a piece cut over here, but I wanted to recut and show y'all exactly what I did. So 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to cut that off right here. And I'm just going to take this to 3 1/4, and then take this to 5 1/4. And there is our panel that we're going to use on the front of our card. But we are going to emboss this using the Scripty 3D embossing folder. And I think this is really going to jazz this piece up and just really give us a pretty definition on it. So let's go ahead. And if you notice, this folder does fold sideways. So if you want your script to look like it's written on the page, you definitely want to pay attention to how you put this in. So I'm just going to drop it like right here. I do want to get it straight so that it doesn't look, you know, wonky, or the script doesn't look proper. And I am going to bring over our beautiful little machine, and we're going to open this up and look at that. Isn't that nice? I love the way it looks. I love the width and the length that we have here, because, and I want y'all guys to watch this. For the 3D embossing folders, and when I did the review on this, I did show y'all this, but we're gonna do it again. All you're gonna need is your #1 plate, which is your base plate or your home plate, whatever you want to call it. And then we're gonna need our embossing folder, and always feed them in with the closed side going in first. And then you're going to use that #4 plate, which is a specialty plate. It is that dark gray one. And just lay that in over top, and go ahead and crank. You might have to hold onto your machine, because that is a thick embossing folder. And just crank that through, just like that. And then we're going to take our plates and put them over here, and we're going to bring this back and reveal our beautiful embossed. I don't know if the light is catching that. There you go. I think you could see it like that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. I think it's so, so pretty. All right, I'm going to move the embossing folder out of my way, and I'm also going to move our machine. So I'm going to fold it up. It does make a little bit of a click when you fold your sides in, but that just lets you know that it's closed and ready to move over. Oh, I meant to write down my host code for the month of August. So if you are interested in ordering anything, if you would please do me a favor and use this host code. Now, if you spend $50 before shipping and tax, and at my website, and I will link that website below, you will get a free gift at the end of the month. I will ship out all of my little freebies, and you will get a free gift from me. And this time, I believe it's going to be, the, I'm trying to think, the snowflake embellishments, and those will be great for our Christmas cards and things like that. So this is our August host code. So I'm going to put August host code. Now this is only to be used on my website. It won't work on anyone else's. And I would hope that if you are my customer that you would shop with me. And I will also put this host code in the description underneath this video too. So in case you don't get it, and I know that's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to hold it there, WVGPUJNB. WVGPUJNB. So if y'all would use that host code when ordering, I would just love you so much for it. All right, I am going to, I want to do something decorative on these corners. So I'm going to use this stud punch, and this is the We Are Memory Keepers, and yes, it's not Stampin' Up. I wish Stampin' Up would come up with something like this. I love this punch, and it does give us really nice little corners on our pieces. Look how cute that looks. So what we're going to do now, we're going to bring back our card. Here's our little card base, and this is going to fit on here just about like that. And I want to use my I want to use a die, and I think I'm going to use these Ornate Frames. I love that one. And if you watched my video the other day, I did punch one out, and since I already have this one punched, we're actually going to use this one. But look how beautiful that's going to look right there. I love that. So while we're waiting to put the rest of this together, I'm going to move it over here. We don't have to cut since we already had one, but I wanted to show you which dies I used. And what I want to do is I want to do some stamping. So let me grab, what I want to do is I want to stamp this flower, and I want to stamp a couple of these. So I'm going to stamp one here, and then we'll stamp one across there. So let's move that over, and I am going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And the reason I'm using that is because I'm going to do some alcohol coloring. And we all know when we use our alcohol inks, we need to make sure we use a Memento ink. You definitely want to use a dye ink. Let's see, this stamp block looks so dirty. Let's see if I can clean that up just a little bit. I normally just take an alcohol wipe or something like that and use it on my stamp blocks, and it cleans them up beautifully. And that's what this was. It's just an alcohol wipe, and that worked pretty good, although it still looks like I got something on it. I may have to take this one to the sink and wash it. But until then, we're just going to go ahead and pick that up. And I am going to stamp this one twice. I'm going to stamp it once across the bottom. And then I'm going to stamp it one more time. And we're going to stamp it right here. And I'm just giving a good press to make sure we get a good image. Very good. So now let's just rub this stamp off just a little bit. Just like that. And let's grab a larger stamp block so we can pick this one up. And if y'all have not tried these Stampin' Up stamp blocks, oh my gosh, are you missing a treat. They fit so good in your hand. They have a nice heavy weight to them. They make stamping a breeze. I love them. I don't use anything else since I bought these. So let's go ahead and press that down. I did not get the impression that I wanted on that. So I'm probably going to restamp it. So I'm going to grab another piece of white. I might have wished that I had done this in a stamp positioner, but I am waiting for my order to come in where I ordered the Stamparatus, and I can't wait to try that one. I want to be able, on this channel, I want to be able to use products that I'm actually selling through Stampin' Up, because after all, these are the products that I turn to on a daily basis for most of my crafting needs. So I want to use as many of their products as I can, and bring, that one looks much better, and be able to bring them to you in the form of demonstrating them and showing you how awesome they are. Now, I'll be honest with you, if it's a product that I don't like, I won't use it. I will not use it. You will see me using the VersaFine ink here because the VersaFine Black Onyx gives me the very best. You know, I think I like that rose better, so I might just fill in that stem. I may use that one after all. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull out some markers and we're going to do some coloring. And since I'm using that blue, I want to go in with, let's start out with a lighter blue. I think I'm going to use my balmy blue. And I'm going to start out with the light and the dark. And I'm going to start out with the light. And I am just going to put a little color down. You do not have to be particular because, first of all, these stamps are so easy to color. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? We're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to pull in some color on these petals. You do not have to be a colorist. You don't have to be good at it to make these look beautiful. The shading and everything that's done in these stamps make it so easy. So I just went over it with that light balmy blue, and I'm going to go back with the darker balmy blue. I'm going to concentrate into here because we know that the center of the flower is usually darker, and the petals where they're coming out, where you see those dark lines in, that's where you want to put your darker colors. So I'm just going to go in a little bit here and a little bit there. Just like that. And then when you come back, you're going to come back with that lighter color. But let this dry just a little bit. You know what? I didn't do this one with the darker, so I'm going to go back in with my darker color. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to swirl it into the middle. You know that middle needs to be darker. And then around these shaded areas, I'm going to make this a little darker. Just about like that. And then I'm going back with the light, and I'm going to start over here. And I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm sorry about the interruption, but that was my granddaughter that was calling me. And you know, when your 4-year-old granddaughter calls, you got to stop and take that call. So I'm back, and what we're doing, we're just going back with the, oh, wait a minute, I'm wrong. We're going back and blending with the light balmy blue. So I am just going to blend everything out now. Now it will look darker when you, as you're putting the color on it, but this will blend out once it starts to dry again. And the same thing with the little one. You're just going to blend it all out. Just like that. Now I am going to come back in, and I think I want to do these probably in a blue and maybe a yellow. But I also want that little leaf right there to be green. And I think I'm just going to use my light Just Jade, which this is one of the new in colors. And I think that's just a really soft, pretty green that we can use for the leaves. And let's do the same thing with these. We've got some little tiny leaves right here. So we're just going to dab just a tiny bit of color on them. They're pretty much almost black, but we are going to add just a tiny bit of that color. Just like that. And do the same thing here. Just a tiny bit of color. And then I am going to grab I think I'm going to use the white Daffodil Delight. And I think I'm going to do the small tip. I think I'm going to use the little bullet tip. And I'm just going to come in just ever so often. I don't want to put down too much of this color because we want to complement the blue. So I'm going to make those bigger flowers, this beautiful blue, and I'm going to start off using the light blue. And that is so pretty. I'm going to even make that stem down into it, the blue. And you know, you could just put down one color and be done with this. But I think I'm going to go in and put a little bit more depth in the center and just where those lines are at. Just like that. We're going to let that one dry while we work on this one. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the blue on the larger ones. And then we're going to come back with that Daffodil Delight. Again, I'm going to use the bullet tip just to make sure that I'm getting some color in here. And it is almost time for my husband to call. He calls me at lunchtime every day. And now I'm going to come back with the darker, but before I do that, I'm going to come back in here with the lighter blue. Now I want to come in with the darker, and I'm just going to use the bullet tip on this as well. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting color right there on those lines. That's all you need to do. Just like that. Now we're going to go back in with the light and just blend that out. I love using the alcohol markers because I think they add so much to a piece. Now we are going to do the same thing. We're going back in with the dark on these, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put in a little bit of the color using that short nib, just like that, and right in here, and here, just like that. And then we will come back and look at the difference of how the blending makes that look compared to that one. See how beautiful that, it just really brings it to life. So I'm going to come back in now. Just blend that in. So pretty. So while I'm gone talking with my husband, I'm going to go ahead and use the die machine, and I'm going to cut these out. And when we meet back up, we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment, and we're going to start to put this card together. I'll be right back. Okay everybody, I am back, and what I have done is I've got these pieces cut and colored and ready to go. And we have our card base. We also have this beautiful little matting that we're going to put on there. And I'm just wondering if I want to do this. I'm actually thinking what I want to do is maybe, Alright, I got this Ornate Frames, which is where we got this one from, and we have this little round one. I'd say more square, but it does have a roundness to it. So we are going to try that one and see if we can frame those petals on this. So I am just going to use the same piece that I cut this one out on, and I'm going to put this on here, and I'm just going to feed this through and see what we come up with. And we'll just run this through just like this. That one gave quite a pop. Quite a bit of a pop, but you know what? It's okay. It cut beautifully. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Now we'll slide that up under there. I am thinking I like that. That is stunning. So maybe what I want to do is put this down, that up, and then this maybe down a little bit further, like that. We're going to stamp a sentiment on this, so let's get our thank you stamp set out. I think this is so pretty, and it'll look gorgeous right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull off one of the stamps, and I am going to get this lined up so that it is straight, and pick it up on my block. I'm going to pull this over, and I am going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black for my sentiment. And I want to get as best in the middle of this as I possibly can. So right about here. I'm just going to hold it, and let it kiss that paper, and there we go. So pretty. So, so pretty. Alright, got that cleaned up. So I guess what we can do now is start to get our card built. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with this. I think I'm going to go ahead and commit this down to my page like so. So I want to measure about a ½ inch in on both sides. This is not something you have to do, but I just kind of want this to be, let's do a ½ inch. I'm just going to do a small tick mark with my pencil. Here's my pencil right here. I just want to come down, and I want a ½ inch tick, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do another ½ inch tick. And then I want to see how close I can get this between the two dots. Okay, I think if we cover both of the dots up, it will be just about perfect. So I'm going to grab a little adhesive, and I think for this one I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, maybe the Stampin' Seal Plus, because we need, this is embossed, so we're going to need this to adhere. You do have to make sure that it's up on the edge of your what you're putting it down against, because if not, it just will not come off of the roller. So pull it, and you might have to do that, and it's okay. It's this is such a good sticky adhesive that it is so worth the little trouble that you have to do to get it adhered. Okay, now I'm going to look at my script because I want to make sure it's going up in the right direction. Now I am going to look at this, and what I want to do is make sure that I've got about the same amount, top and bottom, right and left. That looks good. Pleased with that. Alright, now I want to get this little piece down, and I'm going to glue this flat down, and I think for this I'm just going to use a little Tombow glue. Just like that. And we're going to put this up right about here, eyeballing it middle way. And then we're going to put this right in the middle. And I think I want this to be popped up just a little bit to give it a little added dimension. So let's grab some pop dots. Let's see if I can figure out which drawer they're in. This is the fun part for me of doing a card. It's after I get all of my elements together, and then when I start putting it together, I get so excited because it is so much fun. This to me is the best part. It's like cleaning a house out to redecorate. You know, the cleaning is the drudgery part. The decorating for me is the fun part. So I'm just doing these up on the petals, and I'll tell you why. I'm not too concerned about the stem because the stem is going to be hid behind the other little frame that we're going to put down. So let's get those wrangled up so we don't have them all in our way. And I am going to do this just like that. And then we are going to pop this up, and it's going to live right about there. So let's put some Stampin' dimensions on the back of this. I'm going to put one in the middle, one on each end. And again, we're going to use our little picky tool to pick these off because it does such an awesome job of wrangling them all up, just like we need them. And now this thanking up, thank you, is going to go right here, right about there. Just like so. Now we're going to open this part up, and you might have wondered, what did I do these for? I think these are going to be so cute right here. Just like that on each side. So the main thing we want to do is make sure that we're getting them about in the same place. And if you don't want to measure, put one up and one down. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put those down with, again, just some Tombow glue. And I'm going to put this one down to the bottom like that. Just like that. And this one I'm going to put up closer to the top. This is a trick so you don't have to worry about trying to get them even, and they look pretty like this. So, you know, anytime you're making a card and you have difficulty with a certain thing, make it different. Make it where you don't have to do that technique. Or if you want to conquer that technique, just keep practice until you get it. But isn't that cute? And we could put some little something here, and I'm not sure what yet, but we could do a little sentiment or something. But now we have the inside of this that we need to decorate. So we have our outside, which I love that. Is that not gorgeous? I didn't know exactly where this card was going when I started, which a lot of times I don't have a clue which way I'm going with the card until I get it done. So there we go. So we are going to do a matte inside of here, and I think I want to use the specific blue. And I am going to go ahead and cut a piece of cardstock that is, you know what, let me measure that because I'm not sure of the dimensions of this. This is 5 1/8. So 5 1/8. So if we do oh, it's 5 3/8. So if we do 5 by 4 for a 4 by 5. So 4. By 5. And that will give us our piece to put on the inside. And then we're going to do something pretty to stamp our sentiment in, because I think this card just deserves to have some beautiful dies inside of it as well as on the outside. What do you think? I think so. So let's see what else we got that we can work with. I absolutely love those. But I also am in love with these other dies that I have that are so pretty. I'm thinking these might have been retired. And if they have, I need to take them out of my drawer and put them over with my retired sets. But stitch label framelits, I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that. But I'm thinking I want this one. This is just so pretty. And how pretty would that be in white on top of that beautiful Pacific blue. So let's take a white piece of our cardstock, and we are just going to put this right here and run it through. I'm going to lay this one back there so we remember where it goes. And I am going to brush off my pieces, because anytime you're using a die cut machine, you will tend to have your pieces that will stick to your plate. Now again, this is my cut plate, and as you can see, I have used it. This is going to happen, but what you want to do as your plate starts to bow, you want to turn it over. So anytime that you start getting a bow where you can press it, turn it over. Mine hasn't gotten that way yet. I have used this quite a bit, but it's holding up beautifully. So I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And let's see what we have. Oh, this is pretty. So pretty. I am going to use my little tool here to pop out a few of those little places. Now some of these don't come out. That one does. You can look and see what's actually cut and what needs to stay in. And some of these look like they were cut to come out, but they're really just stitched around the edges. So I'm just double checking and making sure I've got all of the ones that need to come out. And I think we do. So let's lay this over here. And I am going to rake some of this little small pieces off and into the trash. And now let's pull this over and open. And I'm thinking I may even want to put something here. Haven't decided just what, but let's go ahead and glue. Let's see. Okay, this is going to be a thank you card. So on the outside we have the thank you, and then on the inside I'm going to use this other sentiment that says I'm moved beyond words. Because when you're truly thankful, I think we are moved, and many times beyond words. So I am definitely going to use that. I'm just really loving the way this card's coming together. I think it's beautiful. So let's pull this one off, and let's see if we can line this up and load it and ink it and stamp stamp it. Very pretty. Isn't that just such a beautiful, beautiful saying? If you've ever had a friend that's done something for you, I am sure this is the way you feel. You're moved beyond words, and I many times am moved beyond words, and that's not easy for me because my husband can attest to the fact that I am a talker. I know y'all find that hard to believe. I'm just teasing and kidding. I don't think anybody can do a YouTube channel unless they are a talker, because you really have to talk your way through everything that you're doing, and you have to connect with your audience. And that's always my hope, that I am connecting with each and every one of you, because I do care about you. Y'all mean everything to me. I could not do this without you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your business when you order something from me on Stampin' Up. I appreciate your every comment that you leave for me. You have no idea how much I really care. So this I'm going to glue straight down as well, because we don't want bulk inside of our card. If this was on the outside, I would so raise this up on some dimensions. And let's put that down right about there and press it. And now we need to decide if we're going to put something in here. And let's close it up and look. We don't want this card to be too busy, but we also want it to be just... I think it needs something on the inside. Let me look and see if I can find a piece of pattern paper that will do this card justice. And if I can, we'll put a strip of paper or something right here to just give it a little bit more decoration. And I think that would be nice. I'll be right back. Okay, after much looking, I decided on this paper because the colors will coordinate really well with what I had. Now, this is a discontinued piece of cardstock. This was actually before I started Stamping Up. I believe this was one of their packs, and it is beautiful paper. I so wish that they would bring it back. But I'm going to cut this at 1 3/4, so it's going to be almost 2 inches, so 1 3/4. And I need 2 strips of it at 1 3/4. So one more strip, and then we need to cut both of these off at 5. I think that's what I came up with. So I'm just going to put them both together like this, and I'm going to line that up at 5 and slice. Okay. And now all we're going to need to do is just basically glue these in. And this is just going to frame this and make it not look quite so plain, which is what I was looking for. I just needed something that would give us a little bit of a feel of completeness, and I think this does it. I'm going to actually use some more snail, or the Stampin' Seal. I still haven't gotten used to calling it something different, so y'all bear with me. Well, I wish this was not... Okay, I think that's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'll hold it up on the edge like that until I get it exactly where I want it. Once I get it lined up even, then I start to push it down. And there you go. That gives you that nice even border that we all want on our cards. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more of the it's almost every time that you roll this, it rolls back, and then it's almost impossible Somebody said I was pressing too hard, so maybe that is the secret. Just don't press, just roll it. No, that's definitely not it. It's almost like it rolls back. So anyway, I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to hold it up like this until I get it right where I want it. Oops. And then I am going to lay it down just like some reason this piece is not wanting to cooperate with me, so maybe we need to go this direction. Let's lay it down right here and then commit. And there is our beautiful card. I love this. I think the simplicity of it here, and then you open it up, it is just, I think it's a stunning card. I love this. So I hope that you do, and if you are interested in picking up any of the products that I used for making this card, I will have a list of them below, along with my Stampin' Up website. Again, do not forget to use this code. It will also be listed there right up underneath the website. So copy this before you click on the website, and then that way you will have that, and all you have to do is post it in, or just copy it in. Not copy, paste it in. I'll get it right in a minute. You're going to paste it into where it has the little opening for the hostess code. Make sure that you're shopping with me, and I love you all so much, and I hope that you really enjoyed the process of the making of this card. We're going to zoom in so that you can get a little better feel for this card. Isn't that pretty? But you know, it's more than just the card. It is the inside of the card. Is that not gorgeous? I love it. So I hope that you did, and I hope that this is something that you will think about wanting to make yourself. And as I always say in closing, I love each and every one of you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your business. And most of all, I treasure and value you as a friend. And as I always tell everyone this in closing, because this was put on my heart early on when I had the opportunity to have a public platform, is to always give my Lord and Savior credit. So please let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. God bless you until we craft again. Bye-bye.